I was thinking about the phrase that Richard read from the Happiness, Joy, and Bliss book, and talking about the new civilization. We are in that process now of building the new civilization through the wisdom teachings, through the Trans-Himalayan teachings. This is why after a person really begins to move from the initial thrill of finding the teaching into the actual practice and putting into application the principles and virtues and disciplines of the teaching, that we begin to find resistance. It is like going from recapitulation stage, which I'm going to talk a little bit about later, going from the recapitulation process into taking the next step into the evolution of our soul's life in this incarnation. And it is then we begin to find resistances and try to justify and adapt and to bring the elements of the new civilization into the old world. And we don't even know it. We don't even know it until our life finds conflict. And so there is joy in conflict. So we look at the conflict and say, there's a problem in my life. How am I going to resolve it? That's when we go into the teaching. And when I say we go into the teaching is within. We're just fortunate enough to have a gazillion books out there laid in front of us, you know, that are steeped in the ageless wisdom, and we can open up the different books and say, all right, how can I resolve this conflict? And then we have it. And then we move it within. And then we begin to put it into our life. And as we put these new disciplines, new principles, new concepts, new ideas into our life, what we're doing is building the new civilization. Okay? So it's not, this building process is not attracting to millions of people yet. But as aspirants and disciples and initiates recognize that what we are doing in our conflict and changing those conflicts into resolution, into increasing the frequency of our own soul vibration, pretty soon we begin to see our environment is changing. And it's changing from happiness into joy and ultimately into bliss. So that bliss is where, in fact, what's happening, we are contacting the real self. Well, I welcome you, especially our remote viewers, to participate and enjoy the Sunday Talks on the Ageless Wisdom. This is something we try to broadcast every Sunday morning, except next Sunday. Next Sunday we will be celebrating our annual Agni Yoga or Living Ethics Conference, which we've been doing for about 30 years now. So even though we will be meeting next Sunday, we will not be on the live broadcast, but we will be the following Sunday, which will be our Easter Sunday. This morning I'm going to talk about striving toward the heights. This is a simple talk, but so profound. It is exciting, it is directional, it is guidance, and it is evolutionary. It is going to tell you how every single day of your life and future lifetimes can be spent in striving, and how each step in the process of your striving will take you to greater and greater heights. And it will also tell you why you want to do that. The three festivals, the three major sun festivals are called Aries. These are the three festivals of Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. Aries is known as the Easter festival. It's also known as Resurrection. Wesak, which is celebrated at the time of the full moon of Taurus, is the highlight of the three festivals. It's like the pinnacle point. And then Gemini, which is the distribution point, is also called the Festival of Humanity. This year, these three festivals are March 27th, April 25th, and May 24th. I wanted to bring today's talk into the awareness that we are just days away from this first solar festival, the first of the three major festivals. And to let you know this, that angels are especially active at full moon times, but especially during the times of Aries and Taurus and Gemini full moons. The highest moment of these three moons, of course, as I tried to mention, is the Wesak. Some people pronounce it Vesak festival, all one and the same. But at this high moment, this is when the angelic hierarchy cooperates with the spiritual hierarchy. And what does that mean? It means that thousands of these angels are dispatched to various places around the world, around the planet, to channel the energy of Wesak to uplift humanity. This is why we feel different and why we want to engage in purifying disciplines so that we can work in concert with the angelic kingdom, and particularly at the time of Wesak, to transmit the Wesak energy with the help of the angelic kingdom and the spiritual hierarchy, to bring these energies into and uplift humanity. If we go about our day-to-day life as normal, doing crazy, stupid things, then we will be of no help whatsoever. And in fact, almost the opposite will happen, that we will become reactive to these three full moon energies. So this morning's talk is to help us realize how we can use the energies of the three festivals to strive toward the heights rather than to be reactive and to push ourselves back into that old world. When we start to accumulate the energies within our system is when we start striving. So if you feel like you've been dormant or going through a cycle of inertia the last year, now is the time to rev yourself up, increase your gear into a spiritual gear, and make some changes in your life. These changes, hopefully you can take notes about today's talk to get you started. It's like a jump start, so that you cannot stay where you are. You absolutely cannot stay where you are when you begin to accumulate these spiritual energies. They're very, very powerful. And this is why we talk about Aries and Taurus and Gemini as being the three major festivals. When we receive that energy, we charge our whole mechanism with it, our whole system with it. And then this is what's going to happen. We will ask ourselves, this is a personal, inner experience, and we're going to ask ourselves, maybe we can say we'll be in a communication process with our transpersonal self, with our inner guidance, and ask this question, how can I surpass myself? See, this is not going into therapy, this is not going to see a doctor, this is when we go within and commune with our transpersonal self. And through the accumulation of this energy, we are, if you allow me to use the word, we are compelled to ask this question, how can I surpass myself? So after striving, we then accumulate energies and focus them toward our goal. So you see how it all works together? Okay. Now, there are many kinds of heights. If you've ever been to the Himalayan ranges, mountain ranges, you know that there are about 7 mountain ranges that are very high, and very beautiful. The Himalayan mountains are usually snow-covered. Now, in the past, we would have just said snow-covered. Now, they are usually snow-covered because of global warming, and very white. So the white represents purity. This is why our group was called or named the White Mountain Educational Group, because it symbolized the Himalayan mountains, very spiritual mountains. One of the tasks of this group is to teach the Trans-Himalayan teachings, the teachings of the spiritual hierarchy. Teachers have brought us these Trans-Himalayan teachings because they are the spiritual hierarchy. Now, teachers such as Origen and Plato and Shankaracharya, Helena Blavatsky, Pythagoras, and most recently, Helena Rourke, Nicholas Rourke, Alice Bailey, and Torquem Sardarian, all brought the Trans-Himalayan teachings to the world for seekers of the ageless wisdom. All of these teachers, every single one of them climbed to the heights and reached the summits of these mountain ranges. So these 7 mountain ranges symbolize the 7 heights that we must have within ourselves, because they correspond to the 7 chakras, the 7 glands that are part of our human constitution. Okay? Okay. Now, these 7 heights, I was going to put them on the board and then I forgot to ask the board to be put up this morning. So I'll just read them out. The 7 heights that I'm going to be talking about this morning. The first one is a physical height. And there are 7 substratas, of this experience. So that would be the first, is a physical. The second is interesting. It's called prosperity and abundance. So we're moving from physical heights to the next category of heights, which is prosperity and abundance. And then follows the emotional height, followed by the mental height. And then the 5th height is power and leadership. So we're going from physical to prosperity and abundance to emotional to mental, which leads us into power and leadership. Then the next and the final 2 heights, the 6th is creativity and the 7th is spiritual. Spiritual, okay? The first, I said, is physical. Physical represents mountains and rocks and summits, okay? When you climb physical heights, like Thumb Butte, or you go up to the San Francisco peaks and Flagstaff and you try to get to the top of one of those ranges. We're never going to get to the very tippy top of the peaks. It's almost impassable and it's very high. But anyway, people who really like to climb mountains are those who feel the energy of striving at a physical level. Through this kind of striving, what is taking place? They're organizing their body, their emotions, and their mind. They develop concentration. So the key word here is organize. They're organizing their physical, emotional, mental body, and this process requires concentration. So here's a concentration exercise for you if you are striving toward the heights and you're finding somewhere in your life you have lost concentration and you can't even concentrate for 3 minutes. All right, plan a hike. Not to the San Francisco peaks, just maybe a little mountain behind you that's right behind your house, or a hill. Start with a hill and then go to a mountain, because that will begin to organize your physical, emotional, and mental body, because you have to concentrate. By concentrating means you're going to have to put your feet and hands in a specific place so you're not going to fall. So there is a great mountain, oh man, it just escaped me, Yosemite Park. Out in Yosemite Park, that when I used to drive out in that area, I would park along where this beautiful lake is, and I would watch these these climbers go straight up this granite mountain. I could never figure out how in the world they did that, but I recognized they had to place their hands and their feet in specific places or they were going to come tumbling down. So concentration, that's one of the things you can learn. They also develop the sense of balance, you will, in learning how to climb. These things are important because discipline will lead you to the heights. In the old age, people climbed the heights for their own interests and own ego. But now in the new age, see, this is the new civilization that I was talking about as we first began the service this morning. The new civilization, the new age, people will start climbing the heights for others. The second heights are heights of prosperity. So we've gone from the physical into prosperity and abundance being the second height, okay? Heights of more money and greater factories and more business and so on and so forth. This is the past. This is, you know, the process in the past where people used to climb financial mountains. So they wanted to graduate from Harvard and from Princeton and some of these Ivy League universities so they could make more money, get into the best law firms as an attorney, get into, you know, the best hospitals as a doctor. For what reason? To become extremely wealthy professionals. But all of that is changed. Even, well, I can't say all of that has changed. that's a hope, okay? It's a desire. In the process now, in the new age, this is a kind of striving because it does put us in the physical, emotional, and mental discipline, but the underlying purpose is so we can be greater servers for others and make others prosperous and make others' lives full of abundance. To build hospitals, we want to use our money now to build hospitals, to send hundreds of students to college, even to build cultural centers and to help those who are spreading the trans-Himalayan teachings. In this way, we are becoming a channel for the money that is given to us and making us climb the heights with it. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. Now the third height is an emotional height, which is ecstasy and joy. Striving to emotional heights is really the same process as striving physically and to prosperity heights. By going through lots of battles, lots of battles, valleys and jungles. You say, yeah, that I can relate to that. Battles and jungles and valleys. We refine our emotions. So you see, it's okay. So this is when you're in turmoil and you go to your spiritual teacher and the teacher says, that's good. And you think, he's crazy. Now we get it. Because these events in our life are allowing us and encouraging us to climb to the next height so we can refine our emotions. These battles involve negative emotions, memories, pain and suffering, failures and disappointments. After we pass through these jungles and obstacles and hindrances, we eventually feel that, now we're in ecstasy. It's like I had to take my computer down to the hospital yesterday. The ecstasy is I get to pick it up after the service this morning. I know it's kind of strange, but we live in a world that when you have no computer, you're in a state of pain and suffering. If we do not strive for emotional heights, then see, we're depriving ourselves. We are created for heights. We are created to reach these heights because of the highest that is within us. The greatest summit that exists in the world is our spirit. This is why we want to climb the heights. So that's number 3, the emotional heights. The 4th are mental heights. Mental heights. We must climb to the mental heights. Some people think that to be stupid is the most joyful thing. Honestly, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. They think that if they are stupid, then they can't be held responsible for anything. See, I don't know. I'm not responsible. I don't know. Master Moria calls these kind of people corpses. Mental heights increase our mental capacity to reach higher mysteries and higher knowledge and higher laws and higher principles until we touch the divine mind. And when we touch that divine mind, then we can bring forth the highest creativity and the highest beauty. The Trans-Himalayan teachings tell us that the mind must strive toward the light until the mind enters such a depth that it itself turns into light. This kind of striving is not accumulation of knowledge. In fact, this kind of striving, it's like it tills the soil of our consciousness, the soil being light and love and power, and organizes our mental body in such a way that we can now receive direct knowledge. Direct knowledge has no analyzation, requires no analyzation. It's not even intuitive substance. Direct knowledge comes straight to us from hierarchy, we could say. That would be one of the sources. It could be from the planetary logos, but there's a moment where we are so aligned within our physical, emotional, mental, spiritual nature and our soul is functioning in the spiritual triad, or close to it, that, boom, direct knowledge comes to us. See, that's the process of this striving to the mental heights. It is a fusion with the divine mind. In striving toward mental and intellectual lights, we become a tower of light, an authority of light. I'm having to cut myself short here. It's so, you need to be up here to experience, it's like this flood that is coming through the brain cells, and it's like chapters of information, and my brain is going through and flipping through pages. I said, no, I can't. There's no time. I can't do this. There's no time. It's like almost a selfishness. It's like a state of ecstasy. It's so beautiful to be in that place. But then we have to come down to the real world where, we have like 35 to 40 minutes for a talk. Say, okay, we'll put that book over here for a little while. But this gives us an idea of the kind of height that, this fourth height that many of us are in the process of striving toward today. So light, what is light? The teaching tells us that light is the result of radioactivity, the radioactivity of the fire that is within each atom and each cell, and also within any life form. Light is found within the solar system and within the galaxy. What is so interesting when we talk about light is, if you allow me to use the word occult. Occult means, it's something deeper than esoteric knowledge. Occult knowledge is from the deeper levels of teaching. When people in the esoteric life or the spiritual life talk about light, they just say the word light. I'm trying to increase my light, but they don't know what it means. So that's why it's important to be able to answer this question of what is light. Again, it's a result of the radioactivity of the fire that's within our atoms, within our cells, within our 7 chakra system. And the more radiation that is released from these 7 centers within our human mechanism, then the more light is released. The greater zodiac has its light. Now, if you want to know what the greater zodiac is, read this month's, it's a wonderful segue. Read this month's Zodiac newsletter. This is the Aries issue of the Zodiac newsletter, and I did publish it up on my Facebook this morning. So you can go right straight into my Facebook page and click on it, and it will open up, and you're going to see a picture, a diagram of what the greater zodiac is. So the greater zodiac has its light, and then the one that is beyond the greater zodiac has its own light, which is incomprehensible to us, as human beings. But the bottom line is light is revelation. Okay, light is revelation. Now, these 3 upcoming Sun Festival energies, they're going to bother us and remind us not to stay on any one level too long, and not to be diffused or scattered in various involvements. This is why I wish that you would, for the next few Sundays, set aside Sunday to listen to these talks. It's okay to be resistant to some of the information. It's all right for the energy, the radiation of the substance of these talks to create conflict in you, as long as you begin to accumulate the energy during these next 3 full moon cycles, and then move yourself to that question, how can I strive? How can I surpass myself? Now, because we won't be broadcasting next Sunday, it doesn't mean you can't listen to one of our talks. You can, because we are now on YouTube. So Terry, every Sunday captures what we say here and puts it on YouTube. I think the YouTube address is WMEA World on YouTube, and you can listen to any of the YouTube talks. These energies remind us that there are many heights yet to be climbed. So heights invite us to go to them, but too often we are satisfied with our present level. Or we defeat ourselves and say, no, I can't do that. I can't go beyond where I am today. Now, those around and about me challenge me always with their striving. So I cannot possibly stay where I'm at. I can't. With the rest of you striving and moving ahead, where do you think I would be if I just stayed like a stone? Okay. So we all work together and challenge one another and find in that process our happiness, joy, and bliss. In the future, the heights will not be climbed for ourselves, but to build a bridge through ourselves so that other people can climb these heights too. When you are an advanced, creative person, you are a bridge between the source of creativity and those who are still sleeping in the valleys. You can help people only by surpassing the common level. Of course, some of them are not going to like you very much, and some people may even hate you and be angry towards you and attack you. But it's okay, because we are engaged in serving the Most High. So we are destined to be catalysts. The common level must be broken. People are drugged into accepting the common level. Never should a moment come in which you will say, I do not desire any longer to climb heights. The 5th height is the height of power and leadership. Are you striving to be in positions of power or leadership in the world or in your group? Why not? Because you do not have faith in yourself. And why do you not have faith in yourself? Hey, because you are not building toward the heights, not climbing toward the heights. Striving to the heights gives you faith in yourself. So strive toward positions not for your ego, but so you can help people more. Be a better president, a better chairperson, because your intention is to touch that height and bring people toward it, to bring people out of ignorance and suffering and chaos in which they are living. We must not be satisfied with the way things are. Satisfaction, as written about in the Agni Yoga teaching, is the grave of the soul. Excuse me. If we are satisfied, then the hard world, the jungles of the world, are going to show us that until we climb, we will suffer. Until we climb, we will suffer. And that the only real joy in the world is the joy of climbing to greater heights. So real joy is the process of surpassing yourself. On that path, all of your suffering and pain turns into steps that we can climb on to higher and higher heights. When we come close to this summit, we're going to realize this. Well, I guess I could not be here if I had not had those steps to climb. The sixth height is the height of creativity. This is what I suggest, is start with the little things. Start with the little things. Then work harder and harder on any creative line. But always remind yourself that you are not striving to be creative for yourself, but for others. This attitude will be the only salvation for humanity. The Trans-Himalayan teaching indicates that when we climb for ourselves, we are actually descending in spirit. And number 7 is the spiritual height. This is my favorite one of all 7, the spiritual height. Spiritual heights lead us to the transformation of our entire personality and brings us in contact with higher forces. To strive for spiritual heights means we're going to strive until we touch hierarchy, until we touch the ashram. Touching the ashram means it's like stepping into a whole entirely new frequency of life, an electrical field that we've never stepped into or touched or experienced. And your whole inner life completely changes. Your inner world changes. Until we touch Christ, or until we touch the Ancient of Days, it is then that our contact will be valid. Nothing is valid in the world if we are not going progressively toward greater heights. Nothing is valid when it stands still. Because if something stands still, if we stand still, if I remained a stone, then what would happen? I would become obsolete. You become obsolete. When you see people drop out of their spiritual group, it's because they've become a stone. Okay? Becoming a stone means you have become obsolete. Life means progressive unfoldment. Anywhere we stop, we are dead. To achieve spiritual heights means to touch the great creative source in the universe and to be conscious of the energies and forces of life that are controlling us. The law is controlling our life. There's a law in the universe called recapitulation. And this is what I said earlier that I wanted to talk about. That in each life we start with the physical heights. Okay, and you see how this brings the whole talk together. Okay. In each life we have to start with the physical height. And then go to prosperity and abundance heights, and then emotional heights, until we reach the height that we attained in our previous life. Okay? From there, you strive toward the next height. And if you choose a certain height in this life, don't minimize the value of other heights. Actually, greater achievements include a greater number of heights. My philosophy is it's so much easier to be with a group of people that are striving. It's just like when I was a kid and playing the violin. You know, I wanted to surround myself with better violinists, better musicians, because they rub off on us. You know, they inspire us to be better. And because these heights are within us, then we begin to build this energy. We accumulate this energy that we share with one another so we can climb to the next height. But it's those that say, no, I don't need anybody. All I need is little old me. See, they become a stone. They stop, they level off when they reach that last height in their recapitulation process where they stopped in their previous life. And I don't mean they stopped because they became a stone. I mean, okay, don't misunderstand it. It's just, that's where their life ended, and then they moved to the next life, okay? Eventually, all these 7 summits must melt and fuse into the one synthesized summit. But before that, each height has to be trodden by our own hands and feet. All of these 7 heights must be conquered. In Revelations, we are told that Christ was able to operate the 7 seals. That these 7 seals refer to these 7 heights. So you biblical experts, now you have something, to relate to. So how can we climb to the heights? There are some rules that are the same for all of these 7 heights. But obviously they're going to be applied a little bit differently on different levels of planes. So I'm going to give these to you very quickly because I'm out of time. The first is to build your temporary goal on the path of your vision. To build a temporary goal on the path of your vision of the height. The second is to educate yourself in the field of your vision. Educate yourself in the field of your vision. The third is to work very hard in your field, not for rewards, but for achievements. This is for the new civilization, for the new world. As we climb toward greater heights, to work very hard in our field, not for rewards, but for achievement. And the fourth is, do not fall into time patterns, such as the pattern of working from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The fifth is to be patient with hindrances outside and inside your being. Be patient. Okay. Number 6, be open-minded, but have concentration. Be open, but have a path, a concentration. If you are not concentrated, you will be lost in the 7 paths, and you will not know where to go. Number 7, eliminate the fear of failure on your path by visualizing and praying for success. Number 8, realize that your achievements will be used for God and for all His children everywhere. 9, have a weekly or a monthly reorientation ceremony with yourself on a Saturday night. You can use, Saturday night is a very holy night. I know that will be a surprise to many people. But for those who are traveling these spiritual heights, climbing to higher and greater heights, they're going to feel the energy of the holiness of Saturday night. So if you have the time to do this every Saturday night or just once a month or once a year, just start with once a year. This is what you can do. There's 4 steps. The first step is to light a candle. The second step is to draw a circle. Draw a circle on the floor and put your goal, write it out, put your goal or something that symbolizes your goal in the center of the circle, and then walk 3 times around the circle and stand on your goal. Walk 3 times around the circle, come into the circle and stand on your goal. Put the light on the goal. Put the light on the goal and say, my Lord, show me exactly what I am and what I need to do. My Lord, show me exactly what I need to do and what I am. Show me exactly what I am. And the last, number 4, step 4, is to keep silent for 3 minutes. And then say, please, Lord, keep your vision in my soul. Please, Lord, keep your vision in my soul. See, so you can start once a year, then once a month, and then every Saturday. But create a goal that you can keep, that you can do it. And that's it. Isn't that beautiful? It is so beautiful. Okay, so we will be back online March 31st. And we will be celebrating Easter service. We'll have Holy Communion that Sunday and a wonderful talk. Ooh, and then the following Sunday is going to be on the Solar Angel. That will be nice. Thank you for coming. We'll see you at conference. And if we're not going to see you at conference this year, come next year. It's a beautiful experience. It's such a beautiful experience. Anyway, have a wonderful full moon of Aries, and again, remind you you're welcome to watch the YouTube videos. It's a wonderful experience to enjoy. Okay, thank you for coming this morning.